Hello, hello, it's Tracy. I'm an artist with Seint, and I am going to do a full face of makeup, start to finish. It's been a hot minute, and since I've done that, I've been doing little snippets of videos and parties, but wanted to get on here and video, start to finish, one layer makeup. So this is my everyday palette that I'm using right now. I've got my 3 highlight shades, contour, and then 2 lip and cheeks. And on the second layer, I've got some eyeshadows that I use for every day, Bella bronzer, and then the Vanilla Dust setting powder. I like to teach people from the beginning to use your finger to apply the makeup. I use the Cheetah hack kind of combination with CAMO, which I'll talk about those as I go. But right now I'm going into my lightest shade, which for me is Linen. And I'm hitting points on my face that I want to pop, that I want to accentuate. And so I'm going outside of my eyes, the inside corners, and then mostly the T-zone. Stay towards the center of my face. And it just takes a tiny bit. Now I'm going in with my second shade. When you get color matched, I recommend usually 2 shades, a highlight or a brightening highlight, and then an all over highlight, which is going to be the closest to your natural skin tone. I use 3. Everybody finds the method that works best for them. Now I'm going to go into my all over, which is the closest to my natural skin tone. For me, it's June. And I'm going to put dots of that makeup everywhere that I'm not going to put another product. Because this is my darkest shade, I'm also going to use it to camouflage any imperfections or things that I want to minimize on my skin. So just remember, it's an all over shade, or you can use it as a camo shade. There are 2 very structured methods for putting on this makeup like I'm showing you. I'm doing kind of a hybrid mix match of what works for me. So the camo method is a method that works really well for some people, and then Cheetah hack is something that we teach everybody because for me it's the simplest when you're learning the makeup. It helps you learn placement. It also teaches you how much makeup you need. And I can tell you the number one, I don't want to say error or mistake, but kind of learning curve is that you just don't need much of this makeup. It's just a very tiny amount that gives you really nice coverage, blends out any imperfections or things you don't want to see, kind of minimizes those things, and then really helps you accentuate the things that you love about your skin. The other good thing, well, let me back up. I'm using the 3D brush. This was the first brush I bought when I started using the makeup, and it's still my go-to for getting a really light coverage. It's buildable, so if you're a medium coverage or a full coverage makeup wearer, you can definitely build the coverage to make it exactly how you want it. I just tend to be kind of a light, more natural makeup wearer. So see how quick that is? It's going to continue to kind of set into my skin. I'm going to go back and blend it a little more, especially when I do contour. And the good thing about this makeup is it's all multifunctional. So I'm going to take a tiny bit of my lightest or my brightening shade, which is Linen, and I'm just going to kind of tap it, set it across my eyelids. And what that's going to do is it's going to kind of even out the discoloration, because this makeup has natural color correcting properties in it. See, it doesn't look plasticky. It doesn't cover my skin. Like, I'm 45 years old. I want my skin to look like skin, but it just help to kind of even out that skin tone. And it's also going to act as a primer, and it's going to help my eyeshadow last longer. All right, let's do a little bit of contour. So you notice I left my nose. I'm going to have to add a little more product. We don't have fat on our noses, and so I have to be a little gentler when I blend there, and so I tend to leave it for last. So I'm going to contour my cheekbones and then a couple of other places on my face. So to find proper placement for contour, you come straight down from the corner of your eyebrow and find where your cheekbone rolls into the hollow point on your face, and that's going to be the lowest point that I want contour. We're just creating shadows on our faces. It's going to help slim my face. It's going to chisel out that cheekbone and help define it. And so for me, I want to keep everything high and as vertical as possible. If you already have a very slim face and you want to create volume, then you would go lower and more horizontal. Horizontal. All right, we're going to let that sit for a minute, and then we're going to blend it out. So same thing, just creating shadows. And so I'm just drawing a rainbow right up next to my hairline. And then I'm going to come down on my jaw line, start right where your ear meets your face, and just trace right above the jawline or that bone that you can feel. And what that's going to do is it's going to kind of chisel out that bone, give me a little more definition. I've got these nice jowls as I get older, and so if I want to shadow those out, I can just cut right across it with just the tiniest bit of product, kind of a sheer layer. And when I blend it out, it's just going to give a slimming effect. All right, I'm going to use a brush for this part. This is the other brush that I bought when I first started using the makeup. I use it every day. It's a multitasker. And so I'm going to use the contour, kind of like lip liner, but you want to overline your lips, which means you're going out onto the skin, but still using or tracing it like you would lip liner. And that's going to help plump my lips. And it's not going to look this crazy when I'm done. Same thing on my nose, just doing 2 parallel lines right on top. And that's going to help slim my nose. Contour doesn't have to be scary. It looks scary. It was brand new for me when I started using this makeup, but I promise if I can learn to do it, anyone can. And there's some cool things that we can do with it, depending on what look you're going for. So back to my 3D brush, same brush I used to blend my whole face. These are like magic brushes. The color doesn't transfer within reason. Now, if you blended out a bright red cheek color, you're gonna get a little bit of transfer perhaps, but for the most part, the colors don't transfer. All right, so remember, I wanna keep everything high and lifted. So when I'm blending up and just kind of blurring those lines so that it doesn't look like I wiped brown makeup across my face. See how it just blends out? And if you hadn't watched me put it on, you wouldn't know that it was there. Same thing for my forehead. Just kind of blend it around, kind of blur it out, mute it. You can kind of rub it up into your hairline so that there's no distinct lines, and kind of drag it down. See how it just creates that contrast? Now, if I got to the end of this blending and I noticed places where I didn't have enough coverage or I wanted, you know, more coverage, you just add more makeup to it. It's completely foolproof, can't mess it up, no big deal. All right, let's work on my nose a little bit. So I want to blur out, kind of blend in that contour so that it doesn't look like I have brown lines on my nose, because that's weird. See how it just creates a shadow? If I went a little too heavy-handed, I could go back and put highlight on top of it, or I could just keep blending. It's all very user-friendly. And now I'm just going in with highlight to create some coverage on the sides of my nose and then on the tip of my nose. For this part, I use the blend brush. The fluffiest end, the biggest end of the blend brush. It's the softest brush that we make. And I find that it works really well for my nose. And it's also what I use to put illuminator on at the end. Okay, I'm gonna do a mix cheek. So if you're not familiar with Seint, these are two of our lip and cheeks. There's a ton of them, they're all gorgeous. Everybody finds what they like, and they're completely customizable. So you can mix and match, make your own custom colors, which is what I'm doing. And I'm just applying that right above where I put the contour on my cheeks. So the objective here is to blend it well enough so that you can't see where the cheek color ends and the contour begins. And so you've got that really nice shadow from the contour that gave me definition and kind of slimmed my face. And now I'm putting on a pop of color. Again, I'm a pretty minimal makeup wearer. You can really go bold if you want to and build your color out, but I tend to go pretty muted, pretty neutral. See? Really fast. The other thing about this makeup is it's quick. So if I wasn't talking and teaching and blabbering on, I could do this full face in 5 minutes, which is one of the best parts. Now for my lips, I tend to go very neutral. And so same multitasker brush that I used to contour my lips. I'm just setting that color and kind of blotting it together. And then I want to go in, same thing, blend this line so that you really can't see that I drew on brown lines. See how it just kind of blurs out? Just want a little shadow there. And it gives just a little plumping effect. You can go as bold as you want to. I could have used these colors, but again, I'm a pretty neutral girl most days. All right, illuminator. We have cream illuminators and powder illuminators. I have to find it. I tend to go, I lost it. I tend to go powder. Powder gives you more of the shimmer. If you want to go a little more subtle or a little more subtle, less glam, then cream illuminator is going to give you that look. This one is my favorite. And I tend to go right on the apples of my cheeks. Just kind of dust it across. I like it on the tip of my nose and just kind of dust it down that T-zone. And then right on Cupid's bow. If you go too heavy-handed, you just blend it out. Remember, you can't mess this up. Okay, so this is my everyday look. Highlights, contour, lip and cheek color, and then a little bit of powder illuminator. But I want to finish this, and so I'm going to show you a quick everyday eye. I tend to switch my colors out every week or so. For some reason, Sunday nights is my time. I just sit and play play makeup and organize palettes and switch things around, and then I tend to wear the same colors for a week and then I switch them the next Sunday. So this is what I've been wearing for a few days now. This is Drift. This is the lightest color right here. I'm just trying to make a pretty soft canvas. It's got a little shimmer. It's definitely a shimmer color, so it gives me some depth, a little bit of glam, but nothing too crazy. So I'm just windshield wiper motion all over my eyelid. Now I'm gonna go into what we call the transitional shade right here. Typically a light to medium shade. And you want a windshield wiper right over your crease. So I have hooded eyes. Most women do. What that means is when I open my eye fully, part of my upper lid folds over onto my lower lid. So you want to be sure to keep your eyes open, as closed as possible when you're doing your eyeshadow, because if you do your makeup while your eyes like this, you're not going to be able to see what's in my crease. So just a really subtle transitional shade right over. You can go in your crease, that's fine. You just want to make sure it's over your crease so you can actually see it. Now I'm going to go darkest shade, and I'm just going to do a little line, a little blob right on the outside. I'm using the eyeshadow brush. For the first part, I used the fluffy end, and now I've switched to the smaller, more blunt end. And I'm just gonna set that right on the outside. Now for me, if I do any dark makeup on the inside of my eye, it just makes my eye look closed. I don't wanna do that. Now and so the reason I do dark on the outside is because it helps lift. It's gonna help me look more awake, which is definitely what I wanna do with makeup. Okay, this is shimmer. This is my absolute favorite shimmer. It's called Soulmate. Everybody needs Soulmate. I do find with the really bright shimmers, it helps for me to put it on with my finger. It helps me set it right where I want it. And now I'm just blending it all together so that you can't really see any distinct lines, and you can't see where I put the colors initially. Just blending. Now again, it's foolproof. It's buildable. So if I decided I wanted to go a little bolder, I could add more colors. I could add more of that dark color to the outside to make it bolder. But I'm actually pretty happy with it. So I'm just gonna keep blending. Okay, a couple of things you can do to fix mistakes. So see how this brown went outside of the line of my eyelid? So to clean that up, I'm gonna come back to my everyday palette. I'm gonna find a pretty clean brush because I'm gonna use a really light color, and I'm just gonna dip in and I'm gonna draw a line. And that's gonna do a couple of things. First of all, it's gonna clean up where I went too far outside, and it's gonna give me a little extra pop and lift on the outside of my eye, because if you remember when I started, I put my brightening highlight right in that same spot anyway. So I'm just building into it, cleaning up where I went a little crazy with my eyeshadow, and that's gonna give me an extra eye lift. Which is definitely what I'm going for. Okay. That is full face of makeup with Seint. It's cream, one layer. We don't want to put layer upon layer upon layer of our skin. Long gone are the days of primer and then BB cream and then foundation and then powder and then colors. That's just not where it's at anymore. So If you're already using Seint, thank you, thank you. Thank you for your support. It's a really great company, great products, really good for all skin, but especially mature skin like mine. If you want to get started with Seint, I would love to connect with you and do a custom color match. And other than that, thanks for watching and have a great day.